There are 5 quarterbacks in the NFL that have problematic limitations. Now, these are not people that I hate. In fact, Kirk Cousins is a guy I'm a big fan of. I think him as a human being seems like a likable person. And I don't have anything against these people personally. But if one of these 5 guys were the starting quarterback for a team I was rooting for and a fan of, then I'd be concerned. Now, thank goodness I do not have a favorite team in the NFL. I am unburdened of that. But 49ers fans know what I mean when I say that the first quarterback I want to talk about on my list of quarterbacks with limitations is Jimmy Garoppolo. And there is a reason why the 49ers drafted at quarterback Trey Lance number 3 overall. And it wasn't because Jimmy Garoppolo was so amazing they couldn't help but replace him. No, it's because of injuries and because of average and even sometimes bad play at the quarterback position that the 49ers agreed with me and said, hey, we got to find some kind of replacement to Jimmy Garoppolo because Jimmy G has limitations. He's got an average arm, he's hurt too often, and his decision-making isn't good enough to overrule the fact that he's got an average arm and often isn't available. So he's a fine quarterback. I think he's going to be good for a couple weeks starting here in this 2021 NFL season. The 49ers trust him. He's reliable. He's a veteran. I'm sure he's great in the huddle calling plays, that kind of stuff, command stuff. And he's certainly, we've seen him win games in the past. Jimmy Garoppolo is certainly good enough to win a couple games in the NFL. But he's never going to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. There's a problem. He's just got limitations. And because of his limitations, that is why the 49ers decided to move on. Now, number 2 is Andy Dalton. He's the Bears' current starting quarterback. And I think, by the way, that's probably the right choice. Rookie quarterback Justin Fields isn't ready. And remember, the Bears play the Rams defense week 1. And the Rams might be the best defense in the entire NFL. I would not want a rookie quarterback who doesn't look quite ready in the preseason to play week 1 against that defense. That sounds like a terrible idea. But I ask you, what is the best trait that Andy Dalton has to offer? I don't know. I'm literally still waiting. I don't know the answer. I guess I'm waiting for the birds outside to tweet an answer at me. He's average at everything. Andy Dalton has an average arm. He's an average decision maker. He can't run around and make plays. He's limited mobility-wise. He seems like a nice person. Maybe that's his trait that I like the most about him. But as a quarterback, he's just very fine. He's a limited quarterback, and that is why he is on this list. Quarterback number 3, from the current Bears quarterback to the former Bears quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky. He's a guy who I have been too hard on in the past. Mitchell Trubisky is not useless at all. He's a good backup. I think he's a guy that, hey, if Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen gets hurt for a couple weeks during the season this year, they're solid. They got a guy who's won games, who can play quarterback for them for a game or two. Perfect. But Mitchell Trubisky is limited. He's not a franchise quarterback. And that's why the Bears got rid of him. He just doesn't have a lot of potential. He can run around a little bit. He can extend plays. That's certainly the best thing he has to offer as a quarterback. But his accuracy, his arm strength, they're both below average. His ability to read defenses and pull the trigger on stuff downfield, we saw that over and over again in Chicago, was problematic. And Trubisky is a really solid backup. I think that's exactly where he should be in the NFL. But he's limited, and he's not the kind of guy I would build my franchise around. Quarterback number 4 is Maybe it's Maybelline. Quarterback number 4 maybe is the most talented quarterback on this entire list. That's Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins. No, there is a reason why the Vikings drafted Kellen Mond, the quarterback out of Texas A&M. But here's what's different about Kirk Cousins is he's very accurate. I've seen him make good plays. He's got a good arm. He often makes good decisions, but here's the problem. Here's where Kirk Cousins' limiting factor is, I think, very unique across the NFL. You hear all the time, you hear people use the phrase, he can't win the big game. And people say that about Matthew Stafford. They say that about Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Kirk Cousins. Like you hear that Tony Romo, Carson Palmer. We've heard that about so many quarterbacks throughout their entire career. Yes, that phrase is wildly overused. But with Kirk Cousins, I think the phrase can't win the big game might actually be true. He might be the only person that's ever been accurately said about, where he's a guy legitimately who I think cannot handle the pressure and the stress of a big moment. He gets nervous, and you can see it pent up inside of him. He's got all kinds of nervous energy leaking out of him. Like, the word poise is not the first word I would think about when I think about Kirk Cousins. And in fact, this is not, I didn't prepare this, but look at his Monday Night Football record. Somebody can look it up. It's not good. That's another example indirectly of how he doesn't handle big moments very well. And so I genuinely believe that Kirk Cousins gets in his own way with his nerves, with his stress, with his, I think it really truly is anxiousness. And if he can ever get over that, he'd be a massively better quarterback. But for now, he's the guy who gets in his own way. And that literally, I think, himself limits himself from getting to his own potential. And in big moments, go watch Kirk Cousins. He makes weird, boneheaded mistakes that he doesn't, for like 3 quarters, doesn't make those mistakes. 4th quarter, tight moment, he gets stressed out, I think. He'll throw like a terrible pick 6, and you're like, where did that come from? Oh, it's because the moment he can't handle it very well. So I'm not picking on the guy. I don't know how else to describe it. Kirk Cousins' nervousness limits him, and I literally think he may not be capable of winning a Super Bowl. I mean, maybe I should have put them on a list of teams I think have no shot at winning a Super Bowl. I think it's a little bit harsh, but we haven't seen Kirk Cousins elevate his play or handle a tense moment at all. And look, even back to college, the highlight of his career basically was he beat Wisconsin with a last-second touchdown. But how did Kirk Cousins do it? Was it with a well-orchestrated drive down the field with 30 seconds left, making up? And no, the way Kirk Cousins beat Wisconsin and Russell Wilson in college was he launched a Hail Mary deep downfield. I hurt my hand, by the way. I don't know if you heard that. He launched a Hail Mary. They caught it, got over the goal line, scored a touchdown. I can't, other than that moment, I can't think of any moment where Kirk has made the game-defining play at the end of the final moment to win a game. I can't think of any moments like that. And I think Kirk's anxiousness literally limits him from winning and being a better quarterback. Quarterback number 5 who is limited. This is the one I am most scared about putting on this list, just being honest. 2 reasons. Number 1, he's still pretty young. I mean, it's early in his career to make a grand statement like this. Like, maybe this, I think, is his final year to really prove what he is. And if he doesn't do well this year, it's time to move on. The second reason why, and by the way, I'm rooting for him to prove me wrong. I want this young quarterback to show me that he's phenomenal, and I want to believe in him, but right now I don't. The second reason why I'm a little bit nervous is because of the Giants fan base. They are insane, and I love them. They're a crazy, passionate bunch of people. I wish every fan base was as passionate as New York Giants fans, which I think tips off my hat that I'm talking about the Giants quarterback. Quarterback number 5 is Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones is fine, but no one wants a quarterback who is just fine. And my question is, would you rather have Josh Allen, the quarterback in Buffalo, upstate New York, or would you rather have Daniel Jones as your quarterback? I think everyone agrees. Any fan in the NFL would say, I'd rather have Josh Allen than Daniel Jones, easily. And that says a lot. And then how many other quarterbacks would you rather have before you finally pick Daniel Jones? Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, probably Dak Prescott, maybe even Jalen Hurts. I mean, Daniel Jones is like 25th, 26th, 27th best in the NFL. There's a lot of people I would pick to be my starting quarterback before I got to Daniel Jones. I mean, I literally picked Gardner Minshew over Daniel Jones, and Gardner Minshew's a backup quarterback. So I hope I'm wrong, but Daniel Jones has done nothing in 2 years to prove to me, and nothing to give me a lot of confidence in him. He's a quarterback who I think his best ability, literally the best plays I've seen Daniel Jones make in the last couple of years, has been his running ability, running the football. And if you're a quarterback who the best thing you do is run the football, I'm like, unless you're running like Lamar Jackson, which Daniel Jones is not, that's a problem to me. And Daniel Jones is a limited quarterback. So those are my 5 quarterbacks who are limited. Jimmy Garoppolo, Andy Dalton, Mitchell Trubisky, Daniel Jones, and number 4 was Kirk Cousins. So, those are my 5 quarterbacks who I think have limitations and are very problematic as starting quarterbacks in the NFL.